Today I wanted to make the vibes a little cozy, to honor the darkness of the winter, not to fight it, but to go with the flow and accept this darker, more quiet, more restful period of the year. To appreciate its contrast with the warmer months, the summer, when energy is high, day is long, and there's a lot happening, like there's a lot of action going on. While that's all fun and all, it's also important to recognize that we need this fluctuation of periods of high energy and periods of low energy. Our natural rhythm is something that is sometimes hard to follow when responsibilities determine your routine that may not be within your control. It is equally important to let your system recalibrate, to let it rest, to let your brain go through periods of low stimulation, the same way that you would shut down a computer now and then, or even let it sleep. Even then, you notice after a couple months it'll be laggy. If I forget too many tabs open, it's not gonna run properly. It just needs a break. If you determine when these breaks happen, it's quite predictable, especially if you know yourself and you know your internal cues. A lot of the times we ignore them, and instead of willingly shutting down, emergency shutdown kicks in to preserve as much energy as possible. We have no choice, and then we crash. You will have pockets of high energy during the day, and for some people that's earlier, for some people that's later, but generally speaking, everyone has periods in the day where they have more energy, periods of the day when they have less energy. If you're a man, this is especially true because men follow the 24-hour cycle. They're like the sun. They just have a daily cycle that repeats. If you're a woman, you do have a 24-hour cycle, but on top of that, you also have a monthly cycle, just like the moon. The moon, she also rises and sets, but every time she's in a different phase, and the same goes for women. Every day when you rise, you will be in a different phase. You will also have pockets of energy that underlie the more minuscule daily pockets. So you will have weeks where you are more energetic compared to baseline, and you will have weeks where you're less energetic compared to baseline. Think of follicular and ovulatory phase versus luteal and menstrual. It's important to keep this in mind, and not only your daily cycle, because if you don't allow yourself to have these dips in energy, if you don't give your body what it needs, whether that be more rest, more food, less physical exercise, less mental stimulation, you may think that's a way to override the dip that you're having, but in fact you will not go back up the way you normally would again in your higher pockets of energy, in your awake active phases. You will create the sense of resistance. It'll only increase over time. What that'll do in the end with your progress, it'll actually make it diminish, because not only are you pushing yourself to do something when you're not ready to do it and you won't be performing at your best, you are also preventing this rest from catapulting you back up in your better phases to have that higher level of energy that will counterbalance the lower weeks. Now, if you're not used to doing this and keeping up with your internal clock as opposed to the external collective societal clock, you might feel this sense of resistance in your body already, this sense of when you're resting, it doesn't feel restorative. And when you're doing something, you don't feel like you're fully able to focus or to expend as much energy as your full potential. This is when your nervous system is dysregulated, and when you experience this, you often fall on more artificial forms of getting yourself in a high energy state or getting yourself in a low energy state. Think caffeine, nicotine, other stimulants, even heightening your cortisol response in the morning. If you are someone who checks their phone first thing in the morning and then you see some news and now you're wide awake because of all the information that is being bombarded into your brain first thing in the morning, that's a spike in cortisol, which we first of all get naturally when we wake up. That's what helps us to wake up. But if we are overstimulated and we don't have enough downtime, this spike actually gets dulled, so we won't feel it as strongly, hence we won't be able to wake up. Actually, sometimes it'll spike later in the day when you're supposed to be relaxing or starting to relax so that you can follow your proper circadian rhythm to go back to sleep at a reasonable hour. What some people will do to counteract that initial dulled cortisol response is to increase it artificially. I don't think it's very difficult to stress yourself out. You can open your phone and first thing you see some news that is anxiety inducing, or you open your emails and then you think of the things you have to do that day, or you open your messages and you're like, oh my god, I have to respond to so many people, and then that kind of gets you on high alert. But that's not something that is sustainable because it's not something that follows your natural rhythm. If it feels like there's resistance, it's for a reason. It means that you're not giving yourself something that you need. The same goes for getting into a down state, right? Because at the end of the day, we're supposed to fall asleep. We can feel like, wow, I'm so tired, I couldn't focus today, I didn't have energy, I don't feel like doing anything. But then you get in bed and you're wide awake. Your body cannot let go of this wired state because it used all these artificial ways of keeping itself alert, that it can't follow the natural decline in arousal, alertness, and this feeling of, oh, I have to do something now. So then you're kept up at night by your anxiety, being overstimulated, being in a dopamine crash, and feeling very irritable. Some people can use substances to artificially induce a downtime state as well. Something more common that people overlook is overworking yourself to the point that you crash and your body has no option but to pass out, essentially shut down. Your brain sends a signal of too much stimulation, we need to stop. Instead of you being like, okay, let's go sleep mode now, the emergency shutdown kicks in. First, you have to close 100 tabs and restart something that won't quit and save a bunch of files, and then shut down, and then wait for an update, and then restart and reopen all the apps that you previously had. Of course, this takes some time, and this is also what it's like when you try to regulate yourself again after a long period of dysregulation. It feels like maybe you want to sleep 12 hours a day every day for a week, or you need a bunch of carbs because you've been underfeeding yourself out of stress, or you're craving only fruits and vegetables because you haven't been able to take in the vitamins that you needed before. It'll feel like you want what your body craves is a lot of something, but that's also from this mechanism that your body uses in order to protect you from scarcity. So if you don't give yourself what you need when those cues arise, then your body will clock that something is scarce. Like, hey, we asked for food, we didn't get food. That means that we have to prepare for a period of low food or unpredictable sources of food. You can have one of two nervous system responses. One is your hunger goes away completely. Your nervous system is like, okay, in case there's a danger, we gotta be in fight or flight. In case there's a danger, I'm gonna shut off hunger, I'm gonna shut off digestion, so that if I have to run away, if I have to fight for my next meal, if I have to survive a while like this in a stressful state, then I will be prepared and I will be fasted and ready to go. Or you can have the opposite reaction where your nervous system goes, we don't have enough food, let's eat everything we can right now just in case we don't get more in the future. Both these responses are equally valid and they seem very different, but they are actually rooted in the same cause. And the solution for both of them is to just give your body what it needs. Your cravings may also be a bit wonky for the first few days. You will feel irritable because your body doesn't know what to do. It's gonna take a minute for it to get out of this tired but wired sympathetic nervous system state. and go into the we are safe now, rest and digest, parasympathetic nervous system state. All you have to do is to make yourself feel safe. How do you do that? Imagine you are taking care of a friend or even a child. You think, okay, how do I make this person feel safe? I need to make sure their needs are met. I need to make sure they have warmth, food, water, nutrients, comfort. They have somewhere comfortable to sleep. They have enough time to sleep. They have time to play. They have all this freedom to develop as they're meant to. And you have to give yourself the same luxury. And now, guilt has no place in this equation, as a disclaimer, because we can feel guilty for resting. We can feel guilty for our brain not doing what we want it to, or our body. We can feel guilty for not having rested sooner or not having figured this out sooner. This is not going to help you. If you feel guilt, the only thing that can help you with is it is a messenger of what you want and what you don't want. If you feel guilty about something, it's because it's something that you don't want to be a part of your life, that you have control over. You take that message, process it, and then you take action to do what is within your control that will allow you to feel safe and to thrive as best you can. Whatever feels right to you, that's the cue that you should follow. Whatever feels doable for you, you can do. Whatever feels too much is too much. It doesn't make sense to compare yourself to what other people may find too much or too little or enough. Every single person is different. There will be someone looking at you and thinking, oh my God, how are they doing all that? And how are they so capable? How are they so able to sustain themselves with this routine? Because for me, it would be too much. There will always be someone looking at someone else and thinking that, but that doesn't help you further along your path of becoming the healthiest, happiest, most content version of yourself. Comparison is the root of all suffering, guys. Your body, your genetics, your background, your upbringing, your skill set, everything about you is completely unique. Even compared to relatives, you are completely unique. So how can you compare yourself to a stranger that has a different set of all these different factors, which all play a part in how they are able to function? I think that's the hardest part, having self-compassion, because self-compassion doesn't look like, oh, now I have to rest. That's not, I don't think that makes you feel safe. I don't think a child would feel safe if you tell them, you have to sleep right now. You have to lie down. You have to take a nap. You know, just let yourself do what you feel like doing. If you have responsibilities, fine, go do your responsibilities. You're doing it already. But wherever you have control in your life, you can implement this intentional care for yourself. Whether it's on your breaks, during your mornings, during your afternoons, your evening wind downs, meet your own needs. You will be able to wake up the next day more refreshed, more capable, feeling better, and more ready to handle whatever is thrown at you. Okay, I think I've yapped for long enough. I hope this resonates. Please let me know if it does. Light a candle for the winter. Embrace the darkness, embrace the cold, embrace the fact that this is the perfect time to grab a hot drink and a soft blanket and a comfort show without anything better to do, because this is what this time of year is meant for. Okay, bye.